or river basins. And he went on to explain there are such things as subbasins when you start talking about interbasin transfers. And when you add them all up, and they're not evenly distributed, but when you add them all up, they turn out to be 38 of them. So I learned something that morning, and it was helpful here today. I didn't get $1 million for it. I also didn't get a dum-dum, so I'm glad for that too. So let's talk about the focus areas, because I think this is where the rubber meets the road. Sustainable water, sustainable air. What basic? How basic can you get for our department? What a surprise it is that two of our major goals would be clean air and clean water. I don't know that I have to talk a lot about that, but I do want to say that it's, particularly in these two areas, it's areas where I see this department leaving a legacy that could really be important for North Carolina. And let me expand on that just a little bit. In the area of water, I've already told, we had a meeting of the EPA commissioners here in Raleigh on Tuesday and Wednesday. And we talked about a lot of different things, those two topics included. And I raised the issue for them that I really think we need some structured, collaborative approach, whether it's a forum, whether it's a collaboration, whether it's a compact, you can call it whatever you want. We need to be talking on a regional basis with the adjoining states on how we're going to deal with water and air. Is there a way that we can have a dialogue? I'm talking on a broader picture now rather than the stated goals here. Is there a way that we can have understandings that maybe could avoid such things as the lawsuit that's been filed by South Carolina against North Carolina with respect to interbasin transfers? I know that most of the states have interbasin transfers. They all do it. Is there a way we can have understandings that could avoid the conflict and move us all together in the same direction? Chris Russo, where are you, Chris? Right here. Chris has worked very long and hard on a thing called the South Atlantic Alliance. If you didn't catch that recently, the governors of 4 states, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida, have entered into an agreement. It's totally voluntary, where we're going to work to deal with protecting and sustaining our coastal areas, both our coastal resources and the ocean waters. Really important, particularly to North Carolina. And as with most of the goals that are in here, there's overlap. One of the overlaps for coastal issues is the issue of climate policy and how that affects us. It overlaps also with the green economy. It leads you to the whole question of energy. And I would submit to you that climate change, the green economy, energy policy is evolving in such a way that you can't separate them. One affects the other, and it's something that we in this country, not only North Carolina, have got to get a handle on. How wonderful it would be on the energy side to have energy sources that would make our country self-sustaining, or at least not dependent on foreign sources for our energy. So that's a talk for another day. But clean water, clean air. The next two, the green economy and climate change. Those are two areas that we're going to lend some focus to. Next week on Tuesday, I'll be speaking to an EPA assembly in Washington, D.C., and we're going to talk about climate policy. I'm going to share with them some of the things that we're doing in North Carolina. There's a great deal of interest in this. There's a great deal of interest here at home in terms of our legislature. The governor obviously is interested in the issue. And I think that as we work through possibilities there's great opportunity there if we can focus. Here again, a part of your task as you work on these issues in your separate divisions is to be, how do we focus? Lots and lots of wonderful good things in here, but you don't get a lot done by going out and trying to do everything at the same time. You look at it, you try to prioritize, and you don't discount the things that may be down the list, but focus on a couple of things that we could really find achievement in and move forward on. So climate policy, climate change, sea level rise, David. This is one of David's, and he will be working on this probably a good while. And the green economy. You know, the governor, every time she speaks, and she spoke yesterday to the Rural Center, you'll hear her talk about two things primarily. In the economy that we're in and in the fiscal situation that we find ourselves, you're going to hear a lot of discussion about jobs, jobs, jobs. How do we keep the people of North Carolina gainfully employed and moving this state forward? And one of the areas that has great promise is the area of the green economy. Here again, it relates back to these other things. It relates to energy. It relates to climate policy and so forth. But the green economy is one that I see our agency providing principal support to. I see the Department of Commerce taking the commercial aspects of it, moving it forward, but this department, being a regulatory agency, has a great effect on those types of issues, and the job can't be done without the kind of focus that this agency could bring to it. So the other focus areas, let's talk about sustaining our natural areas and our working lands. I had the chance yesterday to speak to the board and to the Ag Advancement Consortium, and those folks are very engaged. And as best I can tell, they're engaged constructively. They want to help. They have their own views about things. They're not particularly thrilled about water allocation, as an example, but they understand it and they know it's important. And I think there are ways, again, as you see throughout the plan, we talk about collaborations. Here's a group we can collaborate, work with, and I think possibly find common ground. Or if we don't find that common ground, we go in a different direction, then